Hey guys, in this lesson we're going to be looking at the area of parallelograms, triangles, and trapezoids. And just as a reminder, area is the amount of space that is inside a shape. The units are always going to be squared. So any shape, we're looking at the area inside, and the units, whatever they are, will always be squared when you're looking at the area of that shape. So to start off with, we're going to start by looking at a triangle. When you have a triangle, it can look something like that. And the formula for the area of triangle we get from a rectangle. Because what they do is they take a rectangle and let's say this is our rectangle right there. They take that rectangle and they cut it in half to make the triangle. So we take the formula that we had for our rectangle in the last lesson. Area is equal to base times height. And well, since they took the rectangle and they cut it in half, it's going to be half of it. And the other shape we're working with is a parallelogram. And what they do for the parallelogram is it also comes from the formula for a rectangle. They take this little triangle right here, and if you cut it off and you move it over here and paste it onto there, we end up with a rectangle. So the formula for the area of a parallelogram is going to be equal to, since it's going to be the same exact area, if you take that triangle off and move it over there, area is going to be equal to base times height, where this is your base right here, and this is your height right there. And then if you're looking at those spots on the triangle, this is the base right there, that's the height. Your triangle could also look other ways. You could have a triangle that looks like this, and it's wherever the line is that they tell you is the height, that 90-degree angle right there, that's the height, and that's the base. And the last type that they could have could look like this. If this is our base, remember we've got to go from the opposite point down to create a 90-degree angle. While the point opposite is up here, to make that 90-degree angle would be there. So that would be your height. And your base would be just that value right there. And then looking at a trapezoid. The formula for a trapezoid is area is going to be equal to 1/2 of base 1 plus base 2 times the height, where this is your base 1, that's your base 2, and your height's going to be right there. And they get this from the formula for a parallelogram. If you take a parallelogram and you put a line right there, you've got two trapezoids. So base 1, base 1, base 2, base 2. So if you do the area is equal to base times height, area is equal to, well, the base for this one would be base 1 plus base 2. You would have to add those two together times the height. But we don't want both of them. We only want a formula for one of them. So you just take that figure and you cut it in half, and then you only have half of it. So let's say we have that half right there. So that's why the area for a trapezoid is going to be 1/2 of base 1 plus base 2 times the height. If we try some of these out, looking at the first one, it wants to know what is the area. So automatically when you see what is the area, you look at the shape, you say that's a triangle. My formula for the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Area is going to be equal to, well, this is my base, This is my height. And I know this is my height and base because there's that 90-degree angle right there. So our area is going to be equal to 1/2 times 20 times 18. So the area is going to be equal to 1/2 of 360. So area is going to be equal to 180. The units are centimeters, and whenever you're working with area, your units are always squared. So it's 180 centimeters squared. Looking at another type of triangle that we could get. Again, area is equal to 1/2 base times the height. There's my 90-degree angle. This one will be the base. This one will be the height. So area is going to be equal to 1/2 times 8 times 6. So area is going to be equal to 1/2 of 6 times 8 is 48. Half of 48 is going to be 24, and our units are kilometers, and we're working with area, so it's kilometers squared. You could also get problems that ask you, what is the biggest area? So you just calculate the area for both and compare the areas that you get and see which one's bigger. So looking at this one's a triangle. So again, I'm using area is equal to 1/2 base times height. Area is going to be equal to 1/2. This one's our base. This one is our height. So the base for this one is going to be 20. And remember, this base only covers that area right there. 1/2 of 20 times 12. So the area is going to be 1/2 of 240. So the area is going to be equal to 120 inches squared. Okay, and we're comparing this triangle to a parallelogram. The formula for the area of the parallelogram is area is going to be equal to base times height, where this is our base, and that one right there is our height. So area is going to be equal to the base is 7, the height is 14. So the area is going to be equal to 98, and then the units in this one are inches squared. And it's asking us which of those has the biggest area. That's going to be that shape right there. You could also have problems where they tell you this is the area, find a certain side. And it starts out the same way that they did up here. It says, what is the missing length? We're working with a triangle. They tell us area. So we write down the formula for area is equal to 1/2 base times height. Well, we know the area. The area is 112 yards. So we start by filling in the things that we know. Is equal to 1/2 times base. This is our base. And our base is 16 times our height, which they tell us is W. So 112 is going to be equal to 1/2 of 16. 1/2 of 16 is going to be 8 times W. We want to solve for that W to get it all by itself. So divide both sides by 8. And W is going to be equal to 14, and our units are yards.